Hi everyone, Zendure has released another new battery. It's right next to me, and it's another excellent choice if you want to generate your own electricity. This new battery is the SolarFlow 2400 Pro, and the big innovation is that it can handle up to 4800 W peak from solar panels. It's not just a battery, it's a real smart production and storage system that's plug and play. It's pretty crazy to see how fast solar energy production technologies are evolving. Almost every 6 months, we have new batteries that are really much better than the previous ones, and now we're seeing another little revolution that I want to show you. The big advantage of this system is that it's scalable. You can start by buying one battery and then buy more batteries later. So take advantage of that. And actually start with one battery and a few panels. And in 6 months to a year, when the new systems come out, buy the new systems. That way, you'll always have the best technology while having a system that's as well suited as possible to your real needs. And today, I'm excited to present to you the latest version, the best version of what Zendure has to offer you. To produce your own electricity, I'm partnering with Zendure. This is a sponsored video. I've been working with them for a long time. It's an excellent system, and everyone who uses it will agree with me. Let me know in the comments if you ever disagree. But I'm excited to introduce this battery to you, which will most likely be either the start of your system or a very interesting addition to an existing system. As with all their previous systems, this is a plug-and-play battery. That means basically you don't need a professional to install it. You just have to put it somewhere in your home, plug it into an outlet, and that's it. The system is up and running. For example, here I've plugged it into the outlet on my kitchen island, and now it's connected to my home system. And right now, it's powering all the devices around us. If there's ever a power outage, the battery stops sending energy to the grid. However, you can plug into the side. There's an alternating current outlet that can power all your devices and let you be self-sufficient for a few hours. The battery's alternating current connection is bidirectional, which means it can both send and receive. 2400 watts, that's it. This allows it, for example, to recharge during off-peak hours or to store the surplus production from solar panels that are connected to another system in the house. The battery knows exactly how much it needs to store thanks to a smart meter. It's an ammeter clamp installed in your electrical panel that accurately measures surplus that would otherwise be sent back to the grid. So if you already have solar panels on your roof, well, this is a system that could be perfect for you. Not the Pro version with the connectors for solar panels on the side, but the alternating current plus version, which is simply a battery and will perfectly suit your needs. I said it earlier, it's a plug and play system, but be careful, it's not that simple. You still need to pay attention to the outlet, and especially to the circuit breaker, where you will plug in this battery. If you plug the battery into a regular outlet in your house, it's better to limit the outlet. Power on the app should be between 800 and 1200 watts, depending on the number of devices connected to the circuit and the circuit breaker. If you plug the battery into a dedicated outlet and circuit connected to a 20 amp breaker, then you'll be able to safely unlock the battery's maximum capacity of 2400 watts. To put it simply, if you only have one module and 2 solar panels, just plug it into any outlet. It's not a big deal. And set the power to 800 watts, that will be more than enough. However, if you start adding 2 or 3 battery modules and have 3, 4 or even more solar panels, well, in that case, set up a dedicated circuit to really unlock the full power of this system without risking starting a fire. Keep in mind that these new batteries still include the Zendure system. If there's ever an abnormal overheating due to a bad setting, there's an aerosol extinguishing system that will automatically activate at around 170 degrees, and it will neutralize the battery and protect your home from fires. You can also choose to install it outside without any problem because the system is IP65. But be careful, if you install it on a wooden deck or in front of wooden siding, I strongly recommend putting a fireproof barrier behind it to minimize the risks as much as possible. And once you've found the right outlet and the right spot, well, you can stack it under the SolarFlow 2400 Pro. You can stack up to 5 additional storage modules to reach a total of 16.8 kilowatt of storage. That's really huge. And technically, if you create multiple circuits connected to several circuit breakers, you can use multiple systems in parallel, and so increase your solar production and storage capacity. But before thinking about having even more storage, well, we first need to see how to produce our electricity with this system. As I was telling you earlier, on these new systems, we have several models, the alternating current plus models, which are made only to store energy coming from another system, and we have the Pro model, which has, on the side with the multi-contact 4 inputs, there are these 4 maximum power point tracking inverters that allow you to connect up to 4 times 750 W of solar panels for a total of 3000 W. On the other side of the battery, you can also connect a microinverter to the alternating current outlet to add up to 1800 W of solar panels and thus reach a total peak of 4800 W. Knowing that in France, you are legally allowed to install up to 3000 W peak of solar panels without any problem. But beyond 3000 W peak, you are required to have a consul inspection to validate your installation. And the consul, well, for now, they don't approve plug-and-play installations. It's not in their checklist. They don't approve plug-and-play installations. So, in summary, if you have a plug-and-play system, you are not allowed to have more than 3000 W peak. Will the cops come to your house, arrest you? No. However, if you ever have a problem in your house, like a fire, for example, and if the insurance company is looking for a way not to reimburse you, believe me, the excuse of the battery and the fact that you are breaking the law will be brought up to avoid reimbursing you. So, it's not really a legal risk, it's more of an insurance risk for you. To produce your electricity, the simplest first setup is to simply buy a SolarFlow 2400 Pro and 4 500W solar panels, which you just connect directly to the multi-contact 4 sockets on the side. And there you go. In just a few minutes, you have your setup up and running without having to worry too much. On Zendure's website, there's a special bundle with the battery and the 4 solar panels. It's ridiculously cheap, but we'll talk more about that later. The problem with this setup is that we have 2000 W peak production, while the battery itself can handle 3000 or even 4800. But anyway, we won't go for the 4800 because that would be illegal, but we can go up to 3000. So how can we do that? The installation isn't much more complicated. Actually, each maximum power point tracking can take 2 solar panels connected in parallel using a Y-shaped multi-contact 4 adapter, which means we can connect up to 8 solar panels in total. By doing this, for example, we can connect 2 Zendure 450W solar panels each to the same input. We agree theoretically the inputs can handle a maximum of 750W peak, but Zendure says you can exceed this number up to 1.5 times without any problem. So actually, you can put up to 1000W per maximum power point tracking, so you'll have 900W peak on a 750W input. It's completely safe, and it allows you to produce more in the morning and more in the evening when there's less sunlight. But on the other hand, at noon, when the sun is at its peak, you'll only produce 750W, it will be limited. A quick technical explanation, we connect the solar panels in parallel so that the currents in amperes add up. It's about 13 amperes per panel, so 26 amperes for 2 panels. Technically, the battery itself can only accept 18 amperes, but that's not a problem because the battery can regulate the current from the panels and lower it to 18 amperes, what the battery can't regulate. However, it's the voltage from the panels, which is 40. If we connected the panels in series, it would be the voltages that add up and we would reach 80 V, while the battery can only accept a maximum of 55 V, and that would be dangerous. So, in summary, we connect 2 panels in parallel to have 40 V on each maximum power point tracking, 26 amperes which will be limited to 18 amperes and 900 peak watts which will be limited to 750 peak watts. That will allow us to produce more throughout the day while staying safe. This system, with a few battery modules and 8 solar panels of 450 peak watts, it's really super easy to install, super easy to use, really powerful for making big energy savings, and it really costs next to nothing, and that's what we're going to see right now. Now let's move on to the price of this system, and you'll see that it's clearly one of the cheapest systems I've tested on this channel. The SolarFlow 2400 alternating current plus costs 959 euros and the SolarFlow 2400 Pro costs 1199 euros. Each additional module costs 719 euros for an extra 2.88 kilowatts of storage. The package I recommend if you don't have any system yet is a SolarFlow 2400 Pro With the Zendure 3 current transformer smart meter and extra battery module and 8 panels of 450W peak, you can easily buy an additional battery module later. If you notice you're sending too much free electricity to the grid, the package with 2 battery modules and 4 solar panels costs €2,187, and you need to add a pack of 4 additional panels for €480, which brings us to a total of €2,667. At that price, you get 5.28 kilowatt-hours of storage, which is more than enough. We have 3,600W peak from the solar panels, or even a bit more, because actually these are bifacial solar panels. So they also produce a little bit from the backside, 10 or 15% more. So we have a production capacity that's really very good. We have good storage. It's a good system to start with. And if you already have panels, if you already have a system, you should go for the alternating current plus versions, which will be a good addition to your system. With this system, it should allow me to save about €700 on electricity per year, which means it will pay for itself in less than 4 years, while the system is guaranteed for 10 years on the batteries and 25 years on the panels. And when I say guaranteed, I don't mean lifespan. Zendure says that the system should last about 15 years for the batteries and 30 to 40 years for the panels. And to increase the lifespan of the batteries, and above all, to maximize energy savings, the system is fully controlled by AI. Zenki 2.0, which will even be able, for example, to buy during off-peak hours to save energy during peak hours. The AI knows the rates of 840 European electricity providers, so it knows exactly when to use energy to make it as economically profitable as possible. In conclusion of this video, I'll repeat what I said in the introduction. We're dealing with a real intelligent and plug-and-play production and storage system. That's why I mentioned all this in the introduction, because it's really true. When it comes to Zendure products, it's actually one of the best value for money I've tested on this YouTube channel. And it's no coincidence that when I resell these on Le Bon Coin, these are the systems that sell the fastest. People are snapping them up. By the way, let me know in the comments if this is the kind of system that interests you, but I know from experience that these are also the YouTube videos that get the most views. People are fans of this kind of system. It's an upgradable system. There's really something for everyone. If you already have solar panels on your roof, you go for the alternating current range. If you need to produce energy, you go for the Pro range. And Zendure also sells solar panels. I think there's really something for every need. Of course, there are much cheaper systems, but they're a lot more complicated to install. And on the other hand, there are systems that are much more expensive, but they're much more powerful and have much better warranties. Actually, the real question is, what are your needs and what are your skills to install a system that will meet those needs? Based on your answers, you'll find many systems which we've tested on this YouTube channel. If you're very handy, you'll probably go for Pilontech batteries, which are cheaper, but they're not really plug-and-play batteries made for the general novice public. If you want the best system in terms of power, warranty, after-sales service, and energy autonomy, you'll go for the BIM battery, which has a power of 6,000 watts and can handle up to 9,000 watts peak from solar panels. Basically, it's the equivalent of 2 to 3 Endure systems, and that's what I have at home as my main installation. And if you want something in between, meaning an ultra-simple system to install, with an excellent quality-price ratio, which allows you to produce a very large amount of energy and to be able to store it, you will most likely go for Endure products. And if you want a portable source of electricity for van life, for example, you will go for other brands that are much more interesting for those uses. And we have actually tested them on this YouTube channel. I hope this video was interesting for you and that you now understand whether this new system from Endure is right for your needs. Don't buy this product lightly or install it carelessly. Consider your decision carefully before purchasing. But in any case, if you want to produce your own electricity simply and affordably with a system that's easy to use and install, well, actually, let me know in the comments. I think this is the most suitable system. I know this is a sponsored video. I may not be the most objective person to talk about it, but actually discuss it in the comments. If you already have Endure systems, share your feedback. Let others know if you think it's an interesting system. If you think I haven't been objective in this video and it's a bad system, let me know in the comments too. But I know from experience that these are good products and that they might interest you. Thank you for watching this video until the end. This was Julian Malera. See you next time for reports on eco-friendly houses, on tests, other batteries, other brands so you can compare, and on lots of other interesting videos about my container house and other topics. Bye.